Hello, 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 my friends. It is 1 o'clock Eastern time on Thursday, January the 23rd. It's hard to believe we're already 23 days into a new year. Boy, that happened fast. Lisa Bowles, your Soul Mapper. And today it's Soul Map Live. We're looking at February. In fact, we're looking at a little bit of January first, because the last time we gathered, we did live for the whole year, and it was so jam-packed and even needed more room that we just couldn't cover any of January. So we're going to cover a couple of pieces of January before we dive into February that are noteworthy and worth paying attention to, because we may have time, likely will. Anyway, welcome. It's good to have you here. We're going to dive in right away because we do have an awful lot to cover. Everything A-okay, Erica?
Yes, sorry, had to unmute myself.
It's okay, no worries. All right, friends, let's dive in. Next slide, please. So these are all the big backbeats. And notice that because so many of the big social change planets are shifting sign somewhere in the year, we have some of it in its current sign and some of it in its soon-to-be sign. So keep stuck with this, because this slide this year is going to be changing. But I just wanted to remind you of the backbeats and that there's shifting going on, okay? You want to take a quick snapshot of this or check the notes and make sure you have that. You can refer back to the notes for Live for 2025 or Live itself to just refresh yourself. Okay, next slide, please. Now, we only have two short term that you want to just be in touch with. One lasts until the February the 4th, so we're not that far away from it going bye-bye. And then another one till the June the 9th. So we talked about that just a little while ago, our fortune finder hanging out where it is and then moves into Gemini, okay? Or is in Gemini right now and will be moving to Cancer. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Next slide, please. So much in my brain. Isn't this pretty? So this says February's most noteworthy moves. We're going to cover a couple in January. So let's go. Next slide, please. January 27th. Today's the 23rd. So we've only got a few days before this kicks in. Last till February the 14th, our communication savant, otherwise known as Mercury, working through Aquarius. So experimentation is the thing, particularly with messaging. So if you're someone who helps with messaging, or you're in the process of trying on an evolved message, or you're taking a crack at it for the first time, experimentation, experiment, and really let yourself have fun with this. Go out to the edges, let yourself, as long as it feels true and respectful of your voice, your vibe, the truth of your work, experiment with how you go about articulating it, particularly spoken or written, but that's not the only thing. You might even experiment with other formats of communication. See the picture? New. This is yum, 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 yum for new ideas, new inventions, new methods. So that plus the experimentation, oh my goodness, everybody, okay? Don't be surprised if you have a message that's kind of feels nailed down, for lack of a better term, and this comes along and you're like, called to tweak things. And in the tweaking, in the experimentation, you might find new starting to emerge and articulate itself. Don't be surprised. I've already started to see a little bit of this show up for other people and myself. So keep it in mind. This also comes with a call to go learn. Learn new things, things that take you out to the new frontiers, the places where advances are ripe, opportune, where, and you might be the one who pushes the edge of the frontier, goes out to the horizon and sees or experiences, or something just drops in and has you go, oh, I hadn't seen that. Sometimes it may call you to go learn with someone whose work is out at the frontier. Okay. Yeah, the only thing I would suggest, because this could be, wild, is vet for the credibility of the teachers that you are considering putting yourself in the hands of. Okay. Because when things are experimental like this, and just want to say with Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius, this is going to be alive particularly for quite some time, but add this in and yeah, just you want to be thoughtful about verifying that the person out at the frontier who's teaching has some chops, has some credibility, is not brand new and just, spitballing. And yeah, okay. This also, especially for those who are female or female oriented, that pull to go connect and build community or gather community is going to be really high. And the thing that's in there is the tending and befriending stuff that women and female identifying people tend to do as part of how we relate to each other. Yeah, if you want, I would suggest you go do a Google on tending and befriending. And investigate that a little bit, because that's going to start showing up in here. Now, part of that is because we have an awful lot going on in the masculine and feminine right now, particularly the feminine wanting to bring itself forward and make more of a home for itself in things like this, even during Aquarius times. So I leave that with you. Wink, wink. Next slide, please. January 29th, we have a gorgeous new moon in Aquarius. It's also the lunar New Year's Eve, which is particularly noteworthy for those who celebrate Lunar New Year's. The year of the wood snake. I don't know a great deal about that, but I just thought I'd offer a nod of respect. I want us to know that there's a huge, big vibe that we're all connected. The vibe here is we're all connected. We're all connected. We're all connected. How can you be an individual, fully developed individual within a collective? How can you be a fully developed individual who is individuated profoundly so that they can contribute their uniqueness that is needed by the whole? Kind of a big deal. And it asks us big questions. This also wants us to reach out and gather a dream team or diversify our dream team. I'm going to say this. If you're going to diversify your dream team, in other words, draw in, invite in, welcome in people of diverse backgrounds, perspectives, et cetera, make sure you're ready for diversity. And it isn't just read a quick couple of articles, like prepare for diversity. And I'm going to say that at large for this large Aquarius season. Prepare for diversity. Now, I'm also going to say, pay close attention. If you're in the 3-part series, the deeper story of 2025, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. We're going to be talking about that. Not the second class, although there is some of it, but the third and final class that takes place on February 14th. Because diversity and diversify are big words. And so is the that may show up from time to time or the first few years. Happy Lunar New Year. Venus, the planet Venus, or what we here call our charisma of cause, oversees or rules wood snake year. And the contribution, again, please take this, go do your own research. I'm not well educated on the Chinese horoscope. So take this for what it's worth. My quick touch-in with someone who is well-versed says primarily focused on growth and cultivating natural gifts. So I wanted to pop that in here for those who are members of the community and do celebrate Chinese New Year, and for those of us who just want to have a bit of a touch in with what this may be offering that's kind of in connection with this. Now, the only other thing I want to say is this. Because this moon takes place in Aquarius, there are a lot of people who are going to live the pull and call in this from about the collarbone up, because it can be it's air, so it can be very heady, very intellectual. I'm going to remind us that we can be in our bodies and we can be in our emotional body too, so that we can be more present to the emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence, as well as physical intelligence that may be here, because touching in with how we're all connected and how to be an individual who contributes to that connection, that might be important. Okay. Next slide, please. The 30th, our benevolent rebel, Uranus, has been retrograde. He's been working in Taurus for a while, and he's been in retrograde in Taurus for a while, and it ends, let's see, today is the 23rd, so 7 days a week from today. It began the 1st of September, and it drew a lot of us in, although many of us might not have noticed, because this can be, for some, it can be very subtle, and for other people, it's like a wow, quiet and deep review. Because what we've been trying to do is make the non-conformative practical, which is kind of a deal. It's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to do, but that's why the Mo. How can we make the non-conformative practical, grounded, here, made manifest? How can we be that force in the world in a way that is practically changing? Opportunities to improve financials will abound once this retrograde ends. If you're willing to lean in and keep your mind open to boundary pushing or edgy opportunities. Remember I talked earlier about vet. You may want to take that into account here too. And because boundary pushing is boundary pushing, that might not always be entirely possible. What I want to say about this is it defies the status quo. It's about investing in boundary pushing opportunities that are about being representative of the values and principles that you want to see in the world. Okay. There may even be the odd surprise aha, even in or during the ordinary and everyday, because he's been held back a little bit by the retrograde. Yeah, we're going to review. Yeah, we're going to mull. And he's like, and all of a sudden he's like, yes. So just don't be surprised if you have, or your clients have, significant ahas that kind of come out of the blue. So we've got this kind of newness, experimentation, ahas over the last week of January that's really worth paying attention to, particularly if you're someone who has or is in the process of articulating and presenting a body of work for the first time, or you're evolving that body of work, or it could be that the body of work tells you it's evolving, which is kind of what's happening for me. So keep that in mind. It could be a very interesting 10 days, 2 weeks. Okay. Now we're going to go into February. Yes. Next slide, please. Here we go. So ordinarily, I wouldn't talk about this, but because it has 3 peaks, and those 3 peaks are kind of broken out between February and March on into May, it made sense for us to just kind of note this together. Our charisma of cause meets up with our dream keeper in Pisces and the North Node in Pisces. So the North Nodes, we're going out and we're experimenting and we're developing new, and we're going out where we've never been before. And it teams up with these 2. This is kind of a big deal. And I wanted to make sure I mentioned it because it's in Pisces. For those of us who kind of know that we're agents of transformation, that we work in the field, contribute to the field, this is a bit of a clarion call. Okay. It asks us, and this is why I wanted to make sure we talked about this. It asks us to get real about illusions, places where we're kind of holding on to a fantasy or just something that we are. And I've noticed a lot of people, a good chunk of people talking about this in this community in the last little while, as we get closer and closer to this. Illusions in relationship and in spirituality, particularly all manner of karmic and ancestral. Oh, excuse me. I knew it was coming, but was hanging there. And I want to suggest that you take those two focuses, relationship and spirituality, and you overlap them, because it's very Venn diagram. And if you're willing to, and there's a willingness factor here, if you're willing to ask yourself, where have I been in illusion? And for the record, many of the people I've been listening to have kind of felt confronted with, holy crap, that is not what I thought it was. And confronting the illusion as it begins to clear your view, to ask yourself if there's any place else within these two areas of life that may be karmic or ancestral or combo that want or kind of are a part of whatever you may be seeing, whatever you may be confronting, whatever you may be getting real about. Now, I also wanted to make sure we talked about this because this could show up for clients. And you may be doing work with them that isn't particularly about this, but it's connected to the work that you're doing. Maybe not overtly directly, but indirectly. And I just want to prepare you, because on these dates, people could have moments. And if you're holding space in whatever way for an individual, for a group, for a class, you want to know about this, okay? It also asks us, or offers us, the opportunity to explore new ways to connect with something greater than ourselves. At the same time, it asks us to do that without being illusionary. I'm going to imagine many of you have seen out on social media, kind of ironic, comedic, like over exaggerations of New Age people. There are people who actually live that and do their level best to stay in that bubble. Those folks may have what I would term a bit of a rude awakening because of this series. And I wanted to make sure we could prepare ourselves as supporters, as facilitators, and as people who may have a little bit of this just hanging out in our own human minds. Okay, so the first one's February 1st to 2nd, depending on where you live in the world. The second, March 27th and 28th, and the third one, May 1st or 2nd. All right. And the ripples of this, if someone does have a moment or a series of moments, it could be disturbing. So we can hold that with compassion and support. Good thing to do as a community and just in preparation for ourselves. We'll touch in with these again in the lives for those months, but I just wanted to give you the information in advance. Okay? Okay. One last thing. If you aim or feel called, I think is probably a better way of saying it, to lean into the invitation the North Node in Pisces is offering us, and these two working in Pisces to progress spiritually, to deepen your practice, to be more grounded in spiritual living, especially during these days of ours, there's a big invitation here. But that invitation includes, in order to progress, you may have to confront this illusion. So just keep that in mind. All righty? All right, next slide, please. Gorgeous slide. February 4th till March the 27th. Our charisma of cause, otherwise known as Venus, shifts into Aries. This is the third piece of what we talked about in class 1 of the series, the deeper story of 2025, is kind of a big deal. The feminine shifts into the house of the masculine, where she is not very comfortable in general, okay? One of the main themes of that is the ignition of courage in love, to be courageous in the name of what you love, in the name of who you love, in the reasons why you love, okay? And I'm not talking, romantic love, although that can certainly be a part of that. It's the much bigger thing, okay? Now, keep in mind that a 6-week retrograde starts March the 1st. How do I say this? So when our charisma of cause is hanging out in Aries, the boldness of Aries kind of ignites the overseer of love and compassion and deep stewardship in the name of life. She becomes more bold. She can become more impulsive. She's kind of cranky about it sometimes because it's not her favorite place to be. But when we are deep in our practices of helping the masculine and feminine partner better, this retrograde could be something, holy cow, okay? And in order to help that happen, this retrograde will tamp some of that impulsivity, that unchecked impulsivity down, not because it wants to blow out the flames of love that have been ignited, but to ask us to query, to ask ourselves to be in internal review before we go leaping. It doesn't say don't leap. It's asks us to check with ourselves about why we're leaping so we can temper the fight. Okay? Okay, standing for and fighting against, not the same thing. And that's some of what this retrograde offers us. Now, before the retrograde, I want to say that you can expect some, not everybody, but unexpected and intense and usually very short-lived attractions, much, much, much more than possible. Okay, happens every time. I've never gone through one of these without seeing it somewhere. So keep that in mind, because impulsivity. Just saying. Next slide, please. February the 4th, our fortune finder Jupiter in Gemini, his retrograde ends. Oh my goodness. Been in retrograde since October the 9th. And it involved an introspective rewiring, okay? Introspective rewiring of how we communicate, why we communicate, because Jupiter in Gemini is very expansive communication of bold ideas, but there's so much going on, we're overwhelmed. And it kind of turns our curiosity on in the extreme and sends it everywhere. It's a really interesting sign for Gemini to be in. And it has a lot of ahas go on, but a lot of people are just so bright, shiny, they can't make purchase and land in anything. So that retrograde wanted to help us go, okay, so what if we took stock of all the stuff that came, wrote it down, and then looked for what came back and reoccurred. What's a recurring theme? Okay. And I want to offer that to you if since October for you, what themes have reoccurred and reoccurred and reoccurred? That's what you want to pay attention to. Once this shift out of retrograde happens, the way to truth and wisdom will become clearer. And it comes with a kind of voice amplification and a nudge to think big, assert yourself boldly. Oh, wait, didn't we have boldness someplace? Yeah, Boldness twice. Assert yourself boldly and reach out to your crowd. Write an article, record a podcast, revive a group chat, host an event, virtual or in real life, strike up and facilitate conversations. And remember that the way to truth and wisdom gets clearer. So if you ask yourself, what of the reoccurring themes that have been popping for me now become more clear, grounded in truth and wisdom, that pieces of which I could not quite see before now want to be spoken, now want to be shared, now want to be, okay? This could be a really important time if you're attempting to launch yourself, your work, or introduce a new piece or a new offer, okay? But it involves really active conversation in one way, shape, or form. So if you write an article, consider allowing comments. It's like a blog, or like a blog, although blogging has changed significantly. Record a podcast and allow people to comment, group chat, etc., etc. Okay. It's the conversation that's the thing. That's the last piece I want to say. The conversation is the thing because you are alone, don't carry all the truth or all the wisdom. It is in the interactive conversation that the idea or the set of ideas are grown together. And that is the expansiveness of Jupiter and Gemini post retrograde. Hope that's helpful. And if you got questions, please, please, please pop them in the chat. Okay. Or if you're listening to this after the fact, come on over to our private Facebook group and let me know. Okay. Next slide, please. 9th of February, our communication savant, Mercury goes Cazimi. So Cazimi, just for those of you who are like, what the hell is that? A Cazimi is when a planet, in this case, Mercury, our communication savant, is partnered with the sun. The energy, the life force of nature combines with that planet and it becomes profoundly stronger. Okay. So the vibe of this one, band together diverse crew to see what can be cooked up together, prepare for mind-blowing synergies, like seriously. But again, I'm going to say diverse crew, awesome. Be prepared for diverse. Those of you who help people understand how to meet diversity without anxiously trying to tamp it down. Okay. Urge to bring your authentic vibe to a group and ask the not so obvious questions. Okay. To bring your authentic vibe and let it be seen, let it be experienced, and let that vibe and your unique point of view, because of that authentic orientation, allows you to see and recognize really needs to be asked. Okay. Lots of support for that this day. Keep your eyes peeled for folks with under-recognized potential, and do what you can to lift them up, to help them be seen, noticed, recognized. 2 thumbs up. The missing link to a project or plan could be in the hands of someone you're casually connected to. Okay, can you say right under my nose? This is one of those days when the ordinary and the everyday and the casual is anything but. Connections, conversations, questions, and authentic representation. Oh my goodness. Okay. Hope that's helpful. This is also a really good day to do a communication-oriented launch. Hope that's useful. Next slide, please. February the 12th, full moon in Leo. Can you say courage unleashed? And we talked about courage before. Really? Yes. Courage and love. So we've got some overlapping themes here. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't the only one noticing. Intends to embolden you or us to live and love out loud. No small thing. It will have some of us feel the need to be audacious with our style choices, not because we're overworking to get attention, but because we may have tamped down our style. And this says, honey, want to see you. Okay, come on now. There's a kind of playful, fun, theatrical energy to this, but don't be performative at the expense of real connection. Theatricality has gotten a bit of a bad rap. It's not the same thing as performativeness. Theatricality is allowing yourself to be bold, to be colorful, to be playful, to be, a little on the edge of what's okay. To do goofy voices and big gestures, but those as a reflection of the truth of who you really are. That's that emboldened thing. To love who you are and live that love out loud with your style choices and in your energy. But please be aware that that can have us try and be like rather than be, okay? And that will interfere with connection. And this actually wants to further connection with those who are willing to throw off the shackles of, I've contained myself, okay? It's also a really good day to launch. Just saying, okay? All right, next slide, please. February 14th till April the 16th, our communication savant, Mercury, moves into Pisces. My friends, can you say cranked up intuition? Oh my goodness. I have this in big bold letters in my calendar because I'm going to be leaning in. Expect all manner of inspiration, lyrics, vision of an art piece, a key poster, book theme, lean in. And please put it in your calendar. If you've been feeling a little inspiration dry, please put it in your calendar. If this is your wheelhouse, if this is where you work, helping people tap into their intuition, develop their intuition. Can you say favored field? The one thing I will say is that it will be useful to make time to relax your mind. Candlelight meditation, sound baths, etc. So you're more able to receive the inspiration that is trying to get through. And I also want to say this. Let the inspiration be what the inspiration is. I have, to get the first piece and then have our minds go racing off, putting it into a box. Try really hard not to do that. That's why make time to relax the mind. It's not a one-off. As often as you can during this period. In fact, if you can make a practice of that, I really highly recommend it. Because there could be some revelatory inspirations that come through, and we really need to let them come through in fullness, in its own integrity, without us deciding what it is and running off and packaging it prematurely, okay? The last thing I want to say is don't rush to share what inspirations come your way. There's a retrograde the 15th of March until April the 7th. And while retrograde, because it's in Pisces, things could be a little foggy. The whole of it may not get through to you until after the retrograde ends. Even a little bit after our communication savant shifts out of Pisces. Okay, so please, please, please. That's why I'm saying, make sure you give your mind time to relax and kind of, I know you're normally kind of running the show, but right now we're just communing. Could be big deal. All righty? All right. Next slide, please. February 18th till March the 20th, our force of nature, the sun, shifts into Pisces. Happy birthday, Pisces. Things that will be amplified: empathy, compassion, creativity, and intuition, which is why I said what I did about Mercury. After it's left Pisces, we can still have pieces coming in. It might come in a little bit differently, but okay, it is a stellar time to tune into your own soul wisdom, which is why I'm going to say what I said just a moment ago. Keep up the practice of relaxing the mind. Okay. And then participate in any way in activities like dancing, dreaming, and flowing with the natural current, so that you put yourself in a surrendered position with the unknown. Because things are just not gonna, that's why I'm saying don't rush. Don't rush to share, don't rush to conclusion, don't rush to, just don't. Let it be around a while. This is good. Now, the last one, this may not be fun for some. Your faith could be tested because things may not be what they appear, the Piscean thing. And part of that is to help you shake more of you loose from the conditioned tendency in this world we live in to rush to package, to rush to conclusion, to rush. And so it's going to give you reason not to, if that's hard for you. Not because it's trying to punish, that doesn't even factor here. It's more so that you allow it to have its own time. Okay. For some of us, that might mean our trust and faith is a little wobbly for a while. And in the end, this will be a good thing, provided you let it have its way with you, not the other way around. Okay. Cultivate connection, like deep, heartfelt connection versus surface level interactions. Networking as usual, not favored during this period at all. For those of you, and I've said this, I said it during Live for 2025, I'm going to say it again. Memberships, community gathering, huge, so advantageous and huge, because go check out the notes from Live for 2025. We are all craving deeper connection. And the more of us who feel ready, not because it might make you money, although there's nothing wrong with that, but if that's the leading reason why you're going to do it, I wouldn't. But because you're called to serve, you're hungry for connection, deep connection and community yourself, okay? And it's time. We are about done with surface level interaction. So, yeah. And there's a lot of people on the move looking for that and ways to go about it that are different than have been. I'm going to say social media is not out yet. In fact, it's just going to get bigger. So finding innovative ways to be in your empathy, in your compassion, in your creativity, in your intuition, together in connection, 2 thumbs up, 5 gold stars. Okay, listen to your own authentic calling. And next slide, please. Okay. Our action instinct, Mars, has been in retrograde for a bit now, and that retrograde ends February 23rd. And it's kind of a big deal because this retrograde has been so blah, blah. It resumes forward motion and dials down the frenetic energy, particularly on the home front, because at the time of the retrograde ending, our action instinct will be in Cancer, okay? Cold weather, communing for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere is highly favored. And that means in real life, if that's your gig, then it's also a time to declutter, make space. And don't be surprised if the call to redecorate comes your way. In fact, the urge to nest and redecorate is probably going to be 2 to 3 times higher than average when this retrograde ends and forward. The motivation is likely to be very high, also to build or start home-based businesses. And fitness challenges with other people, either from within your home or your community. Now, the orientation, because communing is favored in real life, is likely going to be in person in real life, but don't rule out virtual, because your community, my community is all over the place. You know, I know a handful of people well, love, hang out with here where I live, but the vast majority of my community is out there. So just before the retrograde ends, there is a big, big nudge from our communication savant to spill anything you've been stuffing or keeping inside. Okay? Big one. I wanted to say this to you so you could put that in your calendar too, for yourself and for those you serve, whether that's family or clients or a group, whatever the case may be, because there could be a lot of that in the couple of days before this ends. Okay? So you're not taken by surprise. Few of us like that. And so you have the context and can help. I'm going to imagine kind of coach or guide yourself or those you serve. Okay? Okay. Next slide, please. February 27th, new moon in Pisces. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. One of the year's most potent days for tapping into the mystic, particularly your own. All right? Now keep in mind that we have been working with the call to confront illusion. So that's going to still be hanging in the air. And then this comes along. I'll leave that with you. Find or take time to tune out the world and connect to your inner voice. I will be making sure that I spend lots of time with my inner voice. In fact, if you know anything about the moon practice that is part of the current membership, oh my goodness, if you have been engaged in the moon practice or you have your own, big deal this day, huge. It's a stellar time to start a 21-day meditation series or poetry writing series, learning about tarot or learning about astrology. Okay? Anything esoteric and mystic oriented, very good. So if that's your wheelhouse, this is a good day to either launch, make an offer, invite people in, or the day to begin your workshop or class or series. Okay? A sacred healing session. Sorry, I keep rubbing that. I got a little itch here. I don't know why. Forgive me. It might be very distracting for you. Sacred healing session or even plant medicine ceremony may call your name this day. If you've never been involved in either, and you've kind of been dancing around with it, you could get a very loud call the day before, the day of, and the day after, or the 2 weeks after this. When it comes to plant medicine ceremonies, do your homework. Make sure that the people holding space are well trained. Whatever inspiration or guidance bubbles up this day or the day before, day after, within the next 2 weeks, take note, because it may not be clear what it means right away, but there will be additional information that comes. Okay. This is, for many, this will be a glorious, glorious day. And it may have a great many of us in touch with the eddies in the energy of things really intensely. And if you're someone who's a deep feeler, whether that's emotion or energy, just take good care of yourself. Make sure that you are, well slept, well watered, et cetera, et cetera. Just take really good care of yourself. Yeah. All righty. Next slide, please. How are we doing time-wise? Yeah, we're good. Opportune days. January 23rd. What's today? 25th, 29th, and 30th, as well as February 3rd and 9th. Next slide, please. So today, let your imagination loose. Give it free rein. And nudge yourself further from your comfort zone than usual. Like, go do something that actually makes you a little bit, just a little bit uncomfortable, because it's out of the box for you. And really let your imagination run free. It's also a really good day for money and business conversations and messaging professional, okay? With prospects, with people who are interested in your work and want to know more, are considering but have not quite made up their minds. This is a good day for those conversations. January 25th, person of sacred ambition, meet person of sacred ambition. 3 of these. Hello. So the 25th, the 6th, and the 22nd. Are we having a large problem with people not being able to view the slide? Should I pause a little bit, folks?
This is just the first time hearing of it, so that's
Okay.
why I asked.
Yeah. Is everybody generally able to see the slides? I know, Adele, you're having a bit of a problem. Everybody else okay out there? Please. So Mariah says, hi, Mariah. You're having no problems. Okay, Emma's saying no problems. Okay, so I'm sorry, Adele, that you're having an issue. I'm going to leave it with Erica, see if there's something she can do to help you. I just want to make sure we weren't all having a problem. Okay. So January 25th, April the 6th, May 22nd. Now I'm going to repeat those subsequent dates when we get to those live months. But for right now, I want to remind you to put them in your calendar. And make a point. So earlier we talked about connection, that we will want deeper connection, that surface level conversation and networking in the ordinary way ain't going to do it. So keep that in mind and spend the next couple of months either cultivating opportunities to chat more deeply with people, particularly if you want the company of other people highly committed, devoted, and active in terms of enacting their sacred ambition, because could be really useful, especially this year. Okay. I just wanted to make sure you knew about the previous series we talked about, and then this one, because so blah, blah. Next slide, please. The 29th. Deep answers kind of a day, like deep answers kind of a day. So if you have been mulling something, you've gotten like an energetic or emotional or wisdom sniff at something, but you haven't quite been able to go all the way down. This is a day to park your mind, let it have the day off, or as much of the day off as you can, and invite depth to commune with you, because the answers that come could be profound and they could change your life for the rest of your life. If you're up for that, I'd lean into this day. January the 30th, mental ruts, be gone kind of a day. So, again, if you want to let your mind have the day off, another good day to do that. But it's also a good day to kind of go try out. So the experimentation vibe that we were talking about earlier, to go be experimental and watch the changes that may occur in your thinking, because you give yourself permission to be with what you're witnessing or experiencing differently. Now, on this day, we'll be prone to novelty seek, to trigger our ingenuity. So plan to step away from the usual and give it a hand as much as you can. Like, go do unusual things. Go do them in places you wouldn't normally go. I mean, have conversations with people you wouldn't ordinarily have them with. Because opening to, like, it's one thing to give yourself permission. It's another thing to give yourself the conditions that will help foster that shift. So if you can, if you're someone who helps people do that, this could be a really good day to support a group. Next slide, please. February the 3rd. This is, I just called this Sway the Masses Day. Charm plus enthusiasm plus authentic passion equals more yeses on this day. Okay? And by charm, I don't mean, you know, Pied Piper. I mean your authentic aliveness and passion and, okay? Plus authentic passion, and you could sway people. Now, you just want to watch that you're not actively attempting to persuade people to do what you want them to do, but to sway them so that they hear their own life say, yes, this is for me. Very big difference. And a lot of people are confused about this. If you find yourself wanting to persuade, take a deep breath and step back just a little. But this could be a really big day. So if you want to do a webinar or a taste test or something that showcases your work and gives people a chance to experience it before asking them to consider joining you in a program or coaching or whatever the case might be, really good day. Okay. Now, the yes, theirs or yours, has to be followed up with aligned action. So, and I'm saying this to us, so if you use this day, lean in and let yourself leverage the energy in service, okay? You've got to follow up with aligned action and make good on the promises that you make. Now, let me say this. We could feel inclined to make really big promises. You want to watch that you don't overpromise, because that vibes in here too, okay? And on the 9th of February, home and family focus day, actual, metaphoric, or both. Now, it may be a little hard this day to tell if it's a gas or a brake. So go for slow, although you may have to curb your frustration or even temper until you know. So just go slow. If FOMO, fear of missing out, pops in, take that into account. All right, because fear will be driving and you don't want that. Concern, okay, I don't want to miss out on it, but if it's yours, you won't. What's yours will come for you. Next slide, please. Neutral days. These are days that are neither opportune, particularly, or hotspot days. They are what you make them. And they might be a little bit, but they are what you make them. So, next slide, please. January 23rd. If your wants feel pitted against someone else's, generously, and I mean that, stand your ground, but be generous and focus on meet in the middle compromise. If the idea of compromise has you go, I've compromised enough in my life, I'm not doing it again, rah. You might want to go take a look at why the rah, because it will be interfering with generosity all way round. Okay? Okay. I'm not saying, compromise your needs, but how can we go about making sure that me getting my needs met aren't eradicating yours? February 10th, pause before posting day. And I'm really not kidding. Innovation valued, but clarity will be crucial. And that's what you're aiming for. Do I feel there's enough clarity here in the experimental communication, in the innovative edge pushing? Is there enough clarity for me to actually post? Is it time? Because the feeling I should do it now could be really high. And you just want to check in. Challenge the norms while practicing refined messaging. Aim to be heard, not just heard, but understood. Understood is the aim here. And we may have to practice a little bit on this. And if you're feeling a little uncomfortable, You might want to stay off the socials this day. Okay. Having said that, attempting on the socials can put you in the circumstance that will help you find your way through this. And that might be important. It won't necessarily be about pressing publish. It'll be about the process. Okay. Okay. Next slide, please. Pause before speaking day on February 25th. So the other was about publishing. This one's about thinking before you speak. It's also a really, really, really powerful day to consult an expert or two who can help you turn vision into reality. And I'm not kidding about that. If you've got a dream or a vision, something that you know you want to help to bring to the world, but you just flummoxed, or you've tried and this is a really, really, really powerful, advantageous day to consult someone or a couple of someone's. Okay, vet, and you can do the vetting before this day. So if this speaks to you, I really would take advantage of it. All right, next slide, please. Hotspot days, there's only 2. Okay, next slide. February 11th, flare-ups and unyielding power struggles, kind of a day. I won't be on the socials. In fact, I haven't been on the socials much these last couple of months for all kinds of reasons. But on this day, if you're, just on the socials and in real life, it just could be a very testy day. For those of you who are participating in the Deeper Story of 2025, proclivity, big proclivity day. All right. February 20th, know-it-allness attitudes day. Again, online, in real life, just, not good days to do taste tests, to do webinars, to do just, I wouldn't, unless your work is teaching people how to be in their sovereignty, self-possession, and power. But power, not power over, but power with. Okay. Next slide, please. Favoured Fields. I love this slide. Next slide, please. Yeah, there's a few. I'm not going to read them all through. We've talked about much of this. The one thing I am going to talk about, because we didn't really hit this too much, is one, idea storming together, finding ways to popcorn ideas. That phrase came from Andrea Lee. Thank you, Andrea. And then 15, lost faith recovery. There's some of us already needing some of that, and understandably, but it's probably going to amplify. So if that's your work, you might want to let people know. Okay. Okay. Next slide, please. Next slide for March 2025 is on Thursday, February the 20th, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We made a bit of a change, thanks to Erica, in the reminder or invitation emails that give you a link to see what 1 o'clock Eastern is in your time zone. You can just click the link, and that way anybody who lives anywhere outside the Eastern time zone will quickly know what time we're talking about. Okay. All righty. Next slide, please. Now, the Deeper Story of 2025 began a week ago today. The second session happens next Friday, and the third and final happens on the 14th of February. So we're just one session into the program's 3 90-minute Zooms. And I want to encourage you to consider coming, because it's a big damn deal. It really is. Now, the early bird's gone. I'm sorry. But it's just $100 for the series, and you have more than enough time to catch up on the first session before we dive into the second a week from today. Okay, follow the link in the chat. Erica just posted it, or check the notes PDF to join us. Okay, if you're an annual member of the The deeper story is part of your membership. Okay. So please don't buy it. And if you're a monthly member of the current, your 40% off applies. Okay. This is, this is among the most important years of our life. And I encourage you to be as much in the know and prepared as you can possibly be. If you're an agent of transformation, you're the ones out there. We're the ones out there on the edge and offering our hand in service. Being prepared with the context, with as much understanding and connection to what's going on as possible, it's important. So consider investing in this for yourself and for your clients, for the people you serve. Okay? I hope you join us. Next slide, please. Isn't that a pretty slide? If you have questions, if you're watching this in replay mode, be sure to come on over to the Facebook group. Okay? SOMAP Live with Lisa Bowles. And drop in your questions or a share. If something from today's live has you going, wow, I never thought of it that way. I see. Please, please, please share because it helps all of us. And right now, I have this question: which of February's or the tail end of January's influences are already calling you? Which ones are you notice are already moving you? Have your mind or your heart or your body doing things differently than you thought they would, or you've had an aha and you can see that what's been moving over here is connected to what has been or will be moving soon. Okay. I'd love to hear your questions. If you want to open your mic, please, please, please do. And if you have a question and you'd rather not open your mic, you can pop them in the chat. I have not been watching the chat. So Erica, have I missed any questions?
Nope, nothing.
Okay. Anybody got a question they'd like to ask or an aha they'd like to share? Okay. Wow. You guys are quiet today. Adele, were you able to finally see things? Are you still here, Adele? You might not be.
She's still here. Sylvia just raised her hand as well. So.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi.
Hi.
This is just a kind of an initial response. And that is that I've been feeling this experimentation thing and this other, what's been even more over, that's just kind of been like niggling at me.
Right.
But bigger has been, I can't remember where you said it, but that thing about slowing down, about going slow, and have their way with you, I feel like that's what I'm in.
Right. That's awesome. And to the fact that you talked about the experimentation pull, the tug first, and then the whole thing goes slow, would suggest that something in you is saying, do experiment, see what you see, but don't necessarily let it run away with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, even though the go slow thing has been longer and bigger.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. So allow the tug to experiment. Just don't leap to conclusions that you run off with, because there may be more. There likely will be.
Got it. Got it.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, because the order can, even though the go slow's been with you longer, the one you started with was the experimentation, which suggests, and just hang out with this and verify it for yourself, which suggests the tug to experiment right now is asking you to partner with the call to go slow. Make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. It's like the bigger environment is the go slow.
Yes. Yes. Well said. Love it. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Alex has got her hand up.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to share a bit of what, like a takeaway that was from listening.
Yes, please.
Like, I feel like, how we're talking about 2025 being a really pivotal year for the world. I feel like it's also a pivotal year for me and my, sort of reinventing my life. And when you were talking about like the new moon in Aquarius and the full moon in Leo, my birthday is February 3rd. So
Uh-huh.
Aquarius sun. So we've got the new moon in my sun
Yep.
sign of Aquarius. And the Chinese New Year, I was also born in the year of the wood snake.
Ah,
And I don't know much about Chinese astrology, but you know, I know that I was born in that year. And starting on my birthday, I'm moving into like a first house year.
wow.
And I feel like all of that combined is like encouraging me to like really get in touch with who I really am and
Mhm.
how I want to express that authentically in the world.
Yeah.
And then when you talked about the full moon in Leo, which is my
Yeah.
rising sign, and the
Yeah.
boldness and just being, you know, that really, it's something that I've been I've already started leaning into because, you know, I've moved into a place where I'm basically living in someone else's space and mindful of their, you know, just what they're kind of different than me. So try to like tone it down a bit and then realizing that, you know, like tone myself down, but then realizing that, you know, I can't live that way and like I need to just be me and, you know, hopefully everybody can deal and, you know, see how to, and that also speaks to what you were saying about the
Yeah.
how to be you and be in community
Yep.
without losing yourself
Yep.
in the process, which I know is a big thing for me to learn
Yep.
because I've never been really good at that. It's usually been either me or the group. So
Right.
like how do I kind of navigate that so
Yes.
that it doesn't have to be either or?
Right. Right. You might consider your experimentations might be niggling at you based on that piece of your share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. It's good to hear you, Alex.
Thank you.
Thanks for
And
sharing.
I really love what you do and your take on things because it helps to clarify so much in my mind.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. That's great to hear.
Thank you.
That's what it's for. Thank you. Emma typed in the chat, money. I joined a woman-owned company to work in a group of women around my money issues. Never thought I would work out in a group my money issues. Very big surprise. Emma, go, woman. That's awesome. And I've been talking about this and talking about this and talking about this. Working in and having breakthroughs in community is the thing now that Pluto's working through Aquarius, and we're in Aquarius season, and it's like, hello, there's so much Aquarian energy, and it is in community. It is in community. That's why memberships are a big deal. That's why the whole call to community and find our way to be who we are in the community so we can bring to the community what it needs and be served and nourished by that community. So I'm thrilled to hear that, Emma. That's awesome. Congratulations. Well done, you. Well done, you. Oh, that's phenomenal. Anybody else have a question or a share? We're about 8 minutes after 2 o'clock Eastern. So you still have a little bit of time, unless you got to go. Okay.
This is Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi. I've been working what we talked about in our motion map, in my motion map.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing a shirt that says, "In my defense, the moon was full and I was left unsupervised."
It's so
Because
you, girl. Yeah.
and what really has come to me over the last few days in weird, not so much weird, but I'll just be doing something. All of a sudden, this idea will just float really strongly through my brain.
Uh-huh.
Um, And it has to do with the movie Practical Magic, one of my faves.
Is that,
It's
who's in
Nicole
that?
Kidman and Sandra
That's what
Bullock.
I thought. Okay, yeah, okay.
But the point is that in the movie, they're dealing with a sort of malevolent male in a creative way.
Yeah,
And we have some of that going on in America, just a tad,
everywhere.
everywhere. But it just occurred to me that I wanted to train up the feminine force.
Uh,
That in order, whatever I do with my career is, whatever I do, but that for me, I needed a peer group of people
mm,
to do group magic with. And in order to
mm,
do that, I'm going to have to train them because there's just no one here like that.
right.
But I thought, there's worse things to do. So what I'm going to do is start a tea party where
Mm.
everybody has to wear fancy hats and come for tea,
Uh-huh.
and we will have discussions, and eventually out of that, I will find the group. This
Okay,
is
good.
the
So this
current
is in real
iteration.
life. In real life, you're gonna do this.
Yes,
Okay, got it.
because I have beautiful tea sets that I love, and I wanna show them off and play with them. It softens who I am in some ways,
Mm,
and I will also be able to vet women in a way that they won't really know that.
right. Gotcha.
Um,
And maybe how you conduct or hold space, because this will be different. So it may even be a vetting for the process too.
could be. I don't expect it to stay the same. I'm just
No, good point.
opening up my house for the first time since before the pandemic.
Wow, Melissa.
So
Courage. I hear courage. That
I
sounds
hear nutsness, but I
well.
I live in a house that is painted in it is eccentric and bohemian in ways you cannot believe. And so it's not my style. And so it'll be interesting opening the doors. It's 130 years old. It's a rental. And every room is painted different colors. For example, my kitchen, which I'm sitting in, is yellow, orange, and teal, which happen to be my favorite colors, but it's an odd kitchen. The dining room is painted with philodendron leaves in wild colors that are 5 feet tall. It's just
Wow.
strange. So anyway,
Wow.
that's what
Sounds
I'm
like a great environment for this tea of yours, my friend.
yes, I think so.
I think so too. You'll have to update us as you go. Oh,
Yeah.
Phil says we need photos, Melissa.
Okay.
Amen. I love that. Yes,
Well, I
please.
realize that it also has to be filmed in a certain way because when I go off on my sort of tangent sermons, they're worth catching at this point.
Yeah, that might very well be the case. I wish your teas all the best, Melissa.
Thank you.
Please do, share and photos or video or whatever. Okay,
I will do that.
cool,
I
awesome.
invite everyone else to do the same.
Ah, cool. Anybody else with a share or a question about the end of January and through into February? Have you all got the two series it marked down so you know what to expect and the context and leaning in? You're all good with that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, I think maybe then if no one else has a share or a question, we might be complete. Okay. All right, my friends, thank you again for being here. This is the first live of the new year, aside from live itself for 2025. I'm really grateful to share space with you to look forward. To have our eye on the world as it is and our eye on the possibilities that we're tuning into in ourselves and for each other. The stars are our proxies and they're never not communicating with us. So I'm really grateful that you tune in and that you're here in the world. Please turn your microphone on and say goodbye before we call it a day, okay? Thank you so much for being here. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you
Bye,
so
everyone.
much.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.